Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Gene Curl, and today I'm going to be reading from my mission journal that I kept while I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And in the comments from last week or week before, somebody mentioned about a term they weren't familiar with, so I should clarify. In my last assignment here, I was given a mission companion that came out with me, and he was going home and transfer early. So my assignment was to keep him from getting trunky, and the trunky is a term that we use to describe missionaries that are homesick. So trunky was homesick, and I should have mentioned that when I was reading my journal, but I didn't think about it. So with that said, I'll get started with reading where I left off in my last episode. Friday, the 1st of October 2004, mostly clear, hot, light wind. This morning I exercised like I was supposed to, but I am not sure that I like the rule, though it is good for me. We met with Carlton and read the Book of Mormon with him. I really feel that he wants to be baptized. He is just scared that he won't be able to fulfill the commitment that he would make at baptism. We ate lunch at the pad. I received a letter from my mother in which she enclosed a picture of Joan, my younger sister, and Caleb, her soon-to-be husband. She also told me that Jane, my older sister, went inactive and is now going to the Catholic Church. I was so disappointed to hear about Jane. I was afraid that she would go inactive, but I was hoping and praying that she would not. I still have to do my best to get her to come back to church. We tried to see some old investigators today. One lady that we met was very nice, but she is also very mixed up. She sort of believes in God, but does not believe in sin, does not believe that we exist before or after death, and does not think that Christ atoned for our sins. She said that Christ had women apostles, and that she would not join a church where she had no chance to be in the leadership. She is a tree-hugging, man-hating, hippie-like woman. She also feels that it is okay for two men or two women to get married. I wanted to tell her that God created Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, or Ashley and Eve, but I did not. On my mission, I towed the line that I was taught, and I firmly believe that same-sex marriage was a sin. Now I accept the people's choice to be married together for same-sex marriage. We had dinner with the K family at the restaurant, the Super J's. The rest of the day ain't worth mentioning. Oh yeah, I am really excited about having the new missionary guide. I was so extremely sick of the old one. I just wish a new one had come out sooner on my mission. Saturday, the 2nd of October 2004. Mostly clear, rain, late evening, light wind, warm. We watched this 6 a.m. session of General Conference at the church, and they chose 2 new apostles to replace Elder David B. Haight and Elder Neil A. Maxwell, who died. But I don't know how to spell the new apostles' names, so it will suffice to say that they were chosen. Between sessions, we ate breakfast, and I studied while the Elder D slept. Between the second session and the priesthood session, we ate lunch at Subway. The priesthood session was really good. President Hinckley and Elder Oaks talked hard on sin. President Monson talked about fulfilling your priesthood duty and also helping others to become and remain active. We visited Jose and the Japanese girls, and then we visited Brian, a less active member, and talked with him a while. Then we went home to eat dinner. Brian told Elder D that he is too trunky. Elder D is so stuck on himself, it does not matter what anyone mentions. He knows or used to know how to do it better than anyone else, or at least that is what he thinks. He thinks that he is the best driver, basketball player, runner, etc., etc., etc. Also, it does not matter what anyone mentions. He either says that it was invented in Canada or that Canada does it better than anyone else, which is about 90% of the time. It is so much bunk that you could build a bed out of it. Elder D is a great guy, and most of the time he wants to work, but he really needs to be humbled. He also should try not to be so trunky. Also, almost everyone knows that he is trunky, and lots of people has told him not to be. I'm trying my best not to get trunky, but sometimes it is hard because everyone keeps asking me how long I have left. I usually tell them that I have a long time left, but Elder D tells him that I go home in December. Sunday, the 3rd of October, 2004. Clear until about 1700, then heavy rain, light wind, hot. Conference was good, but I was disappointed that no investigators came. The new apostles that were chosen are Dieter F. Uchtdorf and David A. Bednar. Elder Uchtdorf is from Germany. Elder Bednar was the president of BYU Idaho up until the time of becoming an apostle. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but there will be a new temple in Idaho that will be built in Twin Falls, which makes a total of 4 temples in Idaho. After lunch, we went tracking and taught a man named Nathan D. in Milwaukee and got a return appointment. We visited a few members and tried to see some old investigators. We did not have dinner today because the people that signed up forgot that they had signed up and did not believe us when we said that they did, so we had no dinner. Oh well. Monday, the 4th of December, 2004. Mostly clear but light rain towards evening. Light wind, hot. Although it gets hot of a day, it is pretty cold night and in the morning. We picked up Elder P and Elder M and went to the stake center where we met all the other missionaries in the zone. We had zone devotional, ate breakfast, donuts, and then played volleyball. The man who was supposed to clean the temple grounds could not because the gate was locked, so I walked to the temple with Elder S. The temple is almost on the zone lot, the same lot as the stake center, and I jumped the fence and rang the bell to get someone to unlock the fence. I felt really strange being on the temple grounds dressed in shorts and a t-shirt. I wrote a letter to Mom and a letter to my Aunt Rhonda. We were going to see Brother Ian, so I thought that I would bring his egg cartons back to him so that he could reuse them. When I put the cartons in the truck, a big centipede jumped out of them into Elder Douglas's lap and scurried under his seat. Elder D freaked out and screamed like a woman. He was paranoid all the rest of the night that it would bite him. We went to single adult family home evening at the C family's home. First we ate dinner and then played a game. At first it was only brother and sister C. There 3 of the N kids and Elder D and me, but later Bishop A came. After dinner, but before the bishop came, Elder D played. The name of the game is One. Everyone eventually figured it out except for Cowway Inn, who just got back from his mission. He is weird. If I ever acted as feminine as K, I would just as soon have someone shoot me. Well, that was not good. When the bishop came, one of the inn girls read everyone about the 2 new apostles and the lesson we played as signs. The bishop hated the game, but Elder D managed to relate it to the gospel. Elder D is so stuck on himself that it drives me up the wall, but I don't say anything because he will be gone before the month is over. When we left the family home evening, he tried to convince me that the youngest inn girl likes him and stared at him the whole night. I personally think that he is so full of it that his eyes are just turning brown. Girls just does not like him as much as he thinks they do, and I know for a fact that he is not as good of a driver as he thinks he is. In fact, he is a terrible driver. He is extremely cocky, drives too fast, passes too often, follows too close, and is almost wrecked us a number of times. I hope that when he goes home he is humbled and it would be good for him. Tuesday, the 5th of October, 2004. Mostly clear. Light rain after dark. We planned and then we had dinner with Peterson and Magatay at Subway. We visited John M. and read the Book of Mormon with him. We did not teach anyone today. Tonight after having dinner at McDonald's, we watched a priesthood session of conference with Carlton, our progressing investigator. I think that he felt the Spirit. He said, "This is the first time that I have ever heard a prophet speak." While watching the video with Carlton, during Elder Pratt's talk on fasting, I realized that I have cause to repent. Number one, because I slept during this talk when I watched it live on Sunday. And number two, because I can see that my fast need work. I received a letter and beef jerky from my Uncle Bill. He makes the best jerky that I have ever had. Wednesday, the 6th of October, 2004. Clear, hot, light wind. At district meeting today, Elder P's training was on not being trunky. The zone leaders wanted him to train on it because both him and Elder D are extremely trunky. After lunch, we all went to Wendy's for lunch. At Wendy's, a very pretty but also very modestly dressed lady was flirting with me. I resisted the urge to flirt back and instead talked about the church and gave her a pass-along card. We tried to visit investigators until it was time for team-ups, but most of the people were not home. We picked up Brother H, and then we met Brother Ian at the church. I went with Brother Ian down to Millillee. We met Brother G at the pavilion at the end of the road, and while Brother Ian talked to him, I talked to a Samoan man named Tui. From talking to him, I found out that some of his family are members of the LDS Church. After I talked with him for a while, I taught him the first discussion and gave him a Book of Mormon. He is interested, so I set up another appointment with him for next week. We visited a lot of other people, but I can't remember their names. All of us met back at the Inn family home around 2000 for dinner. We were eating some corn on the cob, and Elder D was going off on how much better the corn is in Canada, so the bishop said, "On my mission, I had 2 Canadian companions, and they both tried to tell me that everything is better in Canada. The food is better, the fish is bigger, and the rivers are wider." The bishop went on for a while, giving Elder D a hard time about his exaggerated stories of Canada, and then gave him a hard time for being trunky. After dinner, when we were leaving, Elder D would not back the way that I wanted him to, but backed another way and made it harder and took longer, so the bishop came out and said, "That is the way people drive in Canada," and then laughed. After we dropped Brother H off and got home, I called President Hawkins to let him know that we got home late. President asked how things are going, so I told him that we have 2 new investigators already this week and 1 on the way from Brother H. President said that it sounds like we are working hard, and then he said that he does not care if we are trunky so long as we keep working hard. I reminded President that my temple recommend is expired so that he will bring his recommend book to interviews. It really feels strange not to have a valid temple recommend. I woke up with a cold this morning. Tuesday the 7th of October 2004, clear, hot, light wind. Elder P and Elder M came to our pad to meet for the team-up. I went with Elder P to his area, and we ate at McDonald's, had personal study at the pad, and then went to give a blessing to a lady. When we went to the car, there was a warning sticker on the windshield telling us that it would be towed because we were parked in a no parking zone. We had to scrape it off before we could go. When we finally got to the lady's house, Elder P anointed and I blessed. We visited investigators, less active members, etc. We ate lunch at McDonald's. We tracked it a few times today, and while tracking, we taught a man named Gregory. He told us that was black, white, and he was black, white, and Indian. He really likes to talk and was just a little off a rocker, but a good guy though. We visited a Native American man named Bear. He is sick and cannot come to church, and none of the ward members will come to visit him. We told him that we will try to get the bishop over. The last visit that we made was to a Marshallese family that works and lives on the coffee farm. I felt like junk all day today. Every few minutes I either had to sneeze or blow my nose. Friday the 8th of October 2004. Clear, hot, light wind. There was a chill in the air this morning until about 10, which made it feel like an early mainland fall day. Elder P and I met the other elders at McDonald's and switched back. At around 10, Elder D and I met the bishop at the hospital to see Carlton. None of the nurses could find him, so we left. The reason Carlton is in the hospital is because he had a stroke last night. Perhaps it'll scare him into getting baptized. Elder D and I had lunch at the pad. I received letters from Nolan B. and from Heidi B. All three letters. I received a letter from Mom, from Nolan B. and from Heidi B. All three letters talked about me getting home. The bishop wants me to come to. The Breeze family wants me to come to Heidi's graduation from BYU, Idaho, the day after I get home. I know that my mother does not really want me to spend time with anyone except family until after the holidays, but I don't really care. The B family has done so much for me that I will most definitely go to Heidi's graduation. That's the least I can do. We had a hard time catching people at home today. At 1700, we had dinner with the A family. Later in the day, we stopped by to see Stephanie, who is less active member, and Brian, and Brian's neighbor. We asked her what happened to Brian, so she told us that his ex-wife had him arrested on false accusations while he was with the bishop. But he is out on bail now. Stephanie really has a thing for Brian, but she does not tell him that. Because of a lot of her questions, we taught her the gospel. We talked to her for probably over an hour and committed her to read and pray. When we got back to the pad, we just sat in the truck for a while talking. Elder D apologized for judging me wrongly. He said that at first he thought that I would be hard to get along with, but then realized that I am cool. I told him that I am sorry for giving him such a hard time at the MTC. Saturday, the 9th of October 2004, clear hot light wind. We'd visited Carlton at the hospital today around 10:30. He was doing very well and wanted us to read the Book of Mormon with him, so we did. He was released right after we finished reading with him. We had lunch at the pad. After we ate lunch, when we were about to leave, a brother from the ward came and talked to us for about 2 hours at the door. I don't know what his name is. He told us that if we don't get drunky, that we were not normal. He also told us to make sure that we don't purposely delay marriage or we'll end up like him, an old single man. We visited some Japanese girls that used to take the discussions a while back, and while we were there, an old man that was drunk off his butt came and tried to start a fight with us. Sister P dropped off dinner at our pad tonight. Most of the day was pretty much a wash because nothing really happened and we did not teach anyone today. Sunday, the 10th of October 2004. Clear hot light wind. This morning in PEC, everyone asked me for my Idaho spud tie. I told them that I might be willing to trade, but they only wanted it for free. I had to give the opening prayer and sacrament meeting. We only had one investigator come to church today, and they only came for Sunday school. The person that came was a Japanese girl named Maxie. After lunch, we went down to Millie to try to teach Nathan, but he skipped out on us. On the way back, we visited with this S family for a little while. Brother M picked us up at our pad, and we went to see a few inactive members. When we were through, Brother M took us to his house for dinner. I was asked what I liked to do, so I mentioned hunting among other things. Brother M liked talking to me about hunting, but Sister M said it was cruel and that we should not hurt these poor defenseless animals. I could not be married to anyone who would not let me hunt and fish. After dinner, Brother M gave us a ride home. We went to see Brian for a few minutes, and on our way home there was a big accident which we were lucky enough to not be involved in. The accident happened almost in front of the church. We sat outside for a little while watching before we went into the pad. Monday, the 11th of October 2004. Clear hot light wind. This morning around 8, we went to the H family's house and taught Kyle the second discussion. He is still a little leery about coming to church, but I think that he sincerely wants to know if what we are teaching him is true. He agreed to be baptized, but did not try to set a date because he has not been to church yet. At the end of the discussion, we asked him if he would pray. He asked us to show him how to pray, and after we did, he asked to wait until next time to pray. We met Elder P and Elder M at their pad, and Elder M went with Elder D and I went with Elder P. to the zone leader's pad and helped make a video for zone conference. In the video, Elder S and Elder O was supposed to be training Scott Pete from the Ironman Triathlon. Elder D and I did not have dinner today, so I bought us dinner at Subway on our way home. Elder D told me that I am one of his favorite companions because I have never put him down or made him feel bad, and I have a magnetic personality that grows on him. I hope that he is right. I hope that I have a magnetic personality, especially since my mission is almost over. I will need to be able to make friends with new people and get a job, get married, etc. Tuesday, the 12th of October, 2004. Clear most of the day. Very heavy rain after dark, light wind. After week plan, we met the other elders at their pad, then went to haul a couch for them. I think that I was the only one who wanted to tie it down, but I finally convinced everyone that we should tie it down, so we borrowed some rope from a member. After we dropped the couch off, we were all supposed to go to McDonald's for lunch. I was going on a team up with Elder M, and he tried everything that he could think of to keep us from having to go, including trying and telling me that we had an appointment when we did not. I won out, especially since I'm the only one out of the two of us who can drive, and we had lunch with the other elders and Elder P bought us all lunch. I noticed that the check engine light was on in the car, so I stopped and purchased a quart of oil and put it in it. After I added a quart of oil, it was still low. Elder P had been driving it for a long time with the check oil light on. He is lucky that the engine did not blow. I really get mad at people when they are entrusted with something and then they don't take care of it. About 2 hours before dinner, Elder M convinced me to buy him food at McDonald's. He said that he'd pay me it back, so I said I'd believe it when I see it. We had dinner with the H family, which are originally from Rexburg, Idaho, so we got talking about Idaho. Then I talked with Brother H about waterfowl hunting, and he gave me a few good places to go for geese and ducks. Talking about hunting and thinking about how I'll be home for this year's season made me trunky. Before we left, I shared the dinner message about the farmer's son and the cow. On the way home, the rain was coming down so hard that I could hardly see the road. Earlier today, before Elder D and I left to meet the other elders, I was getting into the truck, and I guess the wind blew the door, which hit me above the right eye, making a 1-inch gash. It bled quite a bit at first, and most people looked at me funny. One said, "You look like you did it. You look like." Said, "You like it? I did it myself." Oh, and most people looked at me funny. Once I said, "You like it? I did it myself." There we go. Wednesday, the 13th of October, 2004. Mostly cloudy, rain in the evening, light wind. We switched back this morning. Elder D and I tried to see people, but most of the day was a wash until we went on team-ups tonight. Elder D went with Brother Ian, and I went with Brother H for 1 hour. Then I dropped him off at the church and picked up Brother A. Brother A and I went to the Millie to see Tui. We could not read with him or anything because it was too dark, so we just talked. I set up another appointment to meet him during the day at his house. We met him at the pavilion today. When we met back at the church in 1930, the young men and young women were cleaning the church, and we had dinner with Brother Ian at his house. Tuesday, the 14th of October, 2004. Mostly clear and hot all day, windy. Around 8, we went up to help Brother K cut trees on his land. He mentioned that one of his chainsaws won't start, so I told him that I used to work on small engines, so he asked if I could look at it. In less than 5 minutes, I had it started. The problem was a foul plug. I was a little upset that Brother K did all the cutting. I haven't used a chainsaw for a long time, and I really wanted to because I miss it. After the trees were cut, he dragged them to the chipper with his tractor, and we fed them into the chipper. We stayed until around 12. Then we went home for lunch and to clean up. I received a letter from Kayleen F., which completely surprised me. She told me about some of the challenges of being home and told me that she had moved to the Boise area. I noticed that I had accidentally taken Brother Kay's wrench for his saw, so we dropped by the Kay's restaurant, the Super J's, and gave him the wrench to Sister Kay. The Kay girls asked if we wanted some ice cream, and of course I said yes. After eating the ice cream and talking for a little bit, we left for the steak center. We were told to be at the steak center for the interviews at 1600, but we were not interviewed until almost 1800. The president gave me a temper recommend interview and gave me my recommend and then talked to me about other things. He told me that one thing that he likes about me is that I don't have a lot of fluff, and what people see is what they get, so everyone knows what kind of a person I am and what to expect from me. The president also said that he thinks I am a very honest man. On the way home, Elder D said that he was too tired to drive and asked me to drive. I was also very tired but not falling asleep, so I drove home. Friday, the 15th of October, 2004. Clear hot light wind. We met Elder P and Elder M and A and rode with them to the Waimea for a zone conference. It was a long drive to the It was a long ride, and the scenery almost looked like southern Idaho. Before conference started, Sister Hawkins was having everyone share their favorite scripture, and as soon as Elder D found out about it, he left with Elder P to McDonald's. When I got back, Sister Hawkins scolded them good. Zone conference was good, but I won't say much about it because I took notes. When we went outside to take zone pictures, there was a light chill in the air that made it feel like fall. Elder D and I got home around 1830, and I got a letter from President Thomas W. Clark, my state president, asking me when I get home so he can schedule a time to release me and also schedule a time to have me speak at my ward. We ate dinner at McDonald's and then showed the new restoration video to the C's and then went to the K family. We got home around 2100. Elder D likes to sing all the time, but he can't carry a tune in a bucket. Well, Psalm 66:1 says that we should make a joyful noise unto the Lord, but it did not say that it had to sound good. I think the zone conference had a big impact on Elder D because usually he tries to find ways to go home early, but today he's willing to stay down 2100. I think that now that though he is trunk, he is almost sad to leave the mission. Well, that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or concerns or comments, feel free to comment down below and I will do my best to answer your questions. With that said, thanks for watching and I will catch you in the next episode.